Non-state opponents Hezbollah full list. Political militant Islam portal The Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, and also known by its Arabic acronym Daesh, is a former unrecognized proto-state that follows a Salafi jihadist doctrine. Isil was founded in 1999 by Jordanian Salafi jihadist Abu Musab al-Zarqawi under the name Jama'at al-Tawhid wal Jihad, and gained global prominence in early 2014 when it drove Iraqi government forces out of key cities in its western Iraq offensive, followed by its capture of Mosul and the Sia massacre. The group has been designated as a terrorist organization by the United Nations. Isil is known for its videos of beheadings and other types of executions of both soldiers and civilians, including journalists and aid workers, and its destruction of cultural heritage sites. The United Nations holds Isil responsible for committing human rights abuses, genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. The Islamic State committed genocide and ethnic cleansing on a historic scale in northern Iraq. Isil originated in 1999 as Jama'at al-Tawhid wal Jihad, which pledged allegiance to al-Qaeda and participated in the Iraqi insurgency following the 2003 invasion of Iraq by Western forces at the behest of the United States. In June 2014, the group proclaimed itself a worldwide caliphate and began referring to itself as the Islamic State. As a caliphate, it claimed religious, political, and military authority over all Muslims worldwide. Its adoption of the name Islamic State and its idea of a caliphate have been criticized, with the United Nations, various governments, and mainstream Muslim groups vehemently rejecting its statehood. In Syria, the group conducted ground attacks on both government forces and opposition factions. And by December 2015, it held an area extending from western Iraq to eastern Syria, containing an estimated 8 to 12 million people, where it enforced its interpretation of Sharia law. Isil is believed to be operational in 18 countries, including Afghanistan and Pakistan, with aspiring branches in Mali, Egypt, Somalia, Bangladesh, Indonesia, and the Philippines. In 2015, Isil was estimated to have an annual budget of more than $1 billion and a force of more than 30,000 fighters. In mid-2014, an international coalition led by the United States intervened against Isil in Syria and Iraq with an airstrike campaign. In addition to supplying advisors, weapons, training, and supplies to Isil's enemies in the Iraqi security forces and Syrian Democratic Forces. This campaign reinvigorated the latter two forces and dealt a blow to the nascent Islamist proto-state, killing tens of thousands of its troops and damaging its financial and military infrastructure. This was followed by a smaller-scale Russian intervention exclusively in Syria, in which Isil lost thousands more fighters to airstrikes, cruise missile attacks, and other Russian military activities, and had its financial base even further degraded. In July 2017, the group lost control of its largest city, Mosul, to the Iraqi army, followed by the loss of its de facto political capital of Raqqa to the Syrian Democratic Forces. Isil continued to lose territory to the various military forces allied against it. By December 2017, the Islamic State controlled just 2% of its maximum territory. In December 2017, Iraqi forces had driven the last remnants of the Islamic State underground, 3 years after the group captured about a third of Iraq's territory. By March 2019, Isil lost one of their last significant territories in the Middle East in the Deir ez-Zor campaign, surrendering their tent city and pockets in al-Baghuz Fawqani to the Syrian Democratic Forces. After the Battle of Baghuz Fawqani, on the 31st of October 2019, Isil media announced that Abu Ibrahim al-Hashimi al-Qurashi was the new leader of the Islamic State, after Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi killed himself by detonating a suicide vest during the US Barisha raid in the Syrian rebel-held Idlib province of Syria 4 days previously. In April 2013, having expanded into Syria, the group adopted the name Ad-Dawla al-Islamiyya fi al-Iraq wa Asat Sham. while the use of either one or the other acronym has been the subject of debate. The distinction between the two and its relevance has been considered not so great. Of greater relevance is the name Daesh, which is an acronym of ISIL's Arabic name Al-Dawla al-Islamiyya fi al-Iraq wa Sham. Daesh, within areas under its control. ISIL considers use of the name Daesh punishable by flogging or cutting out the tongue. In late June 2014, the group renamed itself Ad-Dawla al-Islamiyya, declaring itself a worldwide caliphate. The name, Islamic State, and the group's claim to be a caliphate have been widely rejected, with the UN, various governments, and mainstream Muslim groups refusing to use the new name. The group's declaration of a new caliphate in June 2014 and its adoption of the name, Islamic State, have been Cr.